If you don't fight for your dream, no one else will, and the world won't slow down to ask why you gave up. That's the truth most people avoid. Everyone has a dream, but very few are willing to protect it with action. Most wait. They hope someone notices, someone helps, someone believes. But life doesn't work like that. You either show up for your dream every single day, or you watch it fade while others move forward. No one's coming to push you. No one's going to hand it to you. This is your responsibility. Your future depends on what you do, not what you hope for. This audiobook is for the ones who are tired of waiting, tired of watching others succeed, tired of starting over. If you've ever felt like your dream matters, but you just haven't locked in fully, this is your turning point. You'll learn how to think different, move different, and act with purpose. Because if you don't fight for your dream, who will? Chapter 1. Own your dream before the world ignores it. You have a dream. Maybe you've had it for years. Maybe it just started to take shape. It could be something you think about before you fall asleep. It could be something that keeps you awake at night. But here's the truth. That dream you're holding on to, you have to own it. Because no one else will. No one's going to chase it for you. No one's going to care about it the way you do. The world will not pause to ask what you believe in. It will keep moving. And if you don't take that dream seriously, it'll fade. And when it fades, you fade with it. It's easy to wait. Easy to assume there's more time. Easy to believe someone will come along and push you, support you, believe in you, and make things happen for you. But life doesn't work that way. People are busy fighting for their own survival, their own future, their own family, their own dream. And that's exactly why you must take full responsibility for yours. If your dream matters to you, don't whisper about it. Speak it with strength. Don't hope for it. Work for it. Don't treat it like a hobby. It's your calling, your future, your standard, and it only becomes real when you decide to stop treating it like a maybe and start treating it like a must. I've met too many people who waited. They waited for permission. They waited for someone to believe in them. They waited for everything to feel right. But that moment never came, because life doesn't deliver dreams. It tests them. It tests you. And if you're not ready to own your dream, life won't hand it to you. That's not punishment. That's preparation. The world asks you, how badly do you want it? And it checks your answer every single day through your choices. If you don't own your dream, you won't protect it. You'll talk yourself out of it. You'll let people's doubts plant fear inside your mind. You'll hear their opinions louder than your own inner voice. You'll feel pulled in different directions, and one day you'll wake up and wonder how you drifted so far from who you wanted to become. That's the danger of not owning your dream. You've got to make a choice, and I mean a real one. Not a choice you make when you feel good, not a choice you make after watching a video or reading a book. I'm talking about the kind of decision that happens deep inside, the kind where you say, "This is my life, and this is the path I will walk, no matter who notices, no matter who claps, no matter how long it takes." You can't expect the world to believe in you if you don't believe in you first. That belief must be built every day, and it's built by action, by showing up, by keeping promises to yourself, by working even when there's no audience, no validation, no applause, by being so focused on your dream that everything else becomes background noise. You have to stop hiding behind fear, stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're good enough. If the dream is inside you, that's all the sign you need. It means it's possible. It means you were built for it. And the only thing standing in your way now is how much you're willing to commit to it. And here's something people don't talk about enough. You don't need to explain your dream to everyone. Some people won't get it. That's okay. It's not their job to get it. It's your job to live it. If you spend all your time trying to convince people why your dream matters, you waste the energy you need to build it. Focus on your effort, not their opinions. Focus on your results, not their approval. Owning your dream means owning your time. That means saying no to distractions, saying no to wasting hours on things that don't move your life forward. It means scheduling your day with purpose. It means holding yourself accountable. No one's going to force you to wake up early, to study longer, to push harder. That pressure has to come from you. That drive must come from you. You're not falling behind because of what you lack. You're falling behind when you let life run you instead of you running your life. A dream is not something you chase once in a while. It's something you commit to every day, even when you're tired, even when you're uncertain, even when it feels slow, especially then. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be the person who gave up too early? Or do you want to be the one who stayed consistent long enough to see things change? That's the battle you're in, and the biggest fight is never outside. It's always inside. The world isn't stopping you. Your habits are. Your mindset is. Your level of seriousness is. If your dream is important, your excuses can't be. If your future matters, your distractions can't win. If you say you want a better life, you need to prove it through your daily decisions. There is no shortcut. There is no easy way. There's only ownership. And ownership means responsibility. You stop blaming, you stop waiting, you stop hoping, and you start acting. No one owes you motivation. No one owes you belief. No one owes you opportunity. If you want it, go get it. If you want it, go get it. You fight for it like no one else can. You build it like your life depends on it. Because it does. The biggest mistake people make is thinking their dream will survive on passion alone. It won't. Passion is loud, but it fades. Discipline is quiet, but it stays. Owning your dream means you don't just feel good about it. You put in the work when no one's watching. You do it when it's boring. You do it when it's uncomfortable. You do it when no one is clapping. And when you do that enough times, the world begins to pay attention. Not because you asked it to, but because results are hard to ignore. But don't work just for attention. Work for alignment. Work to become the person who deserves that dream. When you show up consistently, you become stronger. You become more focused. You become someone you're proud of. And that's how the dream starts to come alive, not through luck, but through effort. Stop playing small. Stop putting off your life. You don't have time to waste. Your dream isn't going to wait forever. Life will pass by either way. The question is, will you own it, or will you let it slip away? This is your moment to take it seriously. This is your sign to stop watching and start building. No one else can do it for you. No one else will carry it for you. The world doesn't stop for your delay, and if you don't fight for your dream, you'll end up fighting regret. Every day you have a choice. Ignore the dream or build the dream. Complain or commit. Doubt or decide. Wait or work. You can't do both. So choose the one that moves your life forward. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need the perfect plan. What you need is ownership, because the moment you fully own your dream, you become dangerous, not to others, but to your limits. You stop letting the world define what you're capable of, and you start creating results that speak louder than anything else. Don't hand over your future to chance. Don't wait for motivation to show up. And don't expect anyone to carry your dream like it's their own. It's yours, so claim it, fight for it, build it, protect it, and one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the fight was worth it, not just because of what you achieved, but because of who you became along the way. Chapter 2. Stop hoping someone will save your future plans. You can't keep waiting for someone to rescue your life. You can't keep hoping someone will show up one day, fix everything, and put you on the path you were meant to follow. That's not going to happen. Nobody's coming. Nobody is responsible for your future except you. And the longer you wait for someone else to help you figure things out, the more time you lose. Time you'll never get back. There's a point when you have to grow out of the mindset that someone else will make it easier for you, that someone will see your potential and magically open all the right doors. That's not how real life works. In the real world, people are focused on their own lives, their own goals, their own survival. And while that may sound harsh, it's not meant to be cruel. It's a reminder that you must take your future seriously, because no one else will do it for you. You don't need someone to come and save your plan. What you need is to stop waiting and start building. Right now, from wherever you are, with whatever you have. You don't need perfect timing, and you don't need someone else's permission. The moment you decide to be responsible for your life, everything changes. That's the moment your excuses start losing power. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they keep stalling, telling themselves they'll start when things feel right or when someone gives them a push. And then they wait. And they keep waiting for motivation, for encouragement, for some sign. And the dream keeps slipping further away. That's the slow death of potential, waiting instead of acting. You've got to look at yourself and be honest. Are you taking full responsibility for where you are? Are you doing what needs to be done, or are you secretly hoping someone will notice your struggle and pull you out of it? The truth is, even if someone shows up and gives you a chance, you won't keep it unless you've already developed the discipline to handle it. That's why relying on others for your future is risky. You can't outsource your growth. You have to own it. If you've got goals, write them down. Not for others, but for yourself. If you want a better life, stop waiting for a partner, a mentor, a boss, or a friend to push you. The push must come from you. The moment you say, "No one is coming to save me," you begin to shift into power. You begin to understand that your time, your energy, your choices, those are your tools, and what you build from them is completely up to you. Most people want support. They want someone to believe in them. That's human, but you can't make progress by needing constant validation. The harsh truth is, sometimes the people you think will help you won't. Sometimes the people you expected to believe in you will ignore you, and you have to be okay with that. You have to keep moving anyway. Because if your future depends on someone else's support, it's not truly your future, it's theirs. There are people who had nothing, no backup, no network, no connections. They just decided they weren't going to let that stop them. They didn't wait to be chosen. They chose themselves. That's what you have to do. You have to bet on yourself, even when no one else does, especially then. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that life is fair, that effort always gets rewarded, and that help will always come when needed. But that's not guaranteed. There will be times you work hard and still feel unnoticed. Times you put in your best effort and see no immediate results. In those moments, you'll be tempted to quit, to complain, or to wait for help. But that's when you need to go deeper, not softer. That's when you double down on your focus and remind yourself that this path belongs to you, not anyone else. You have to become the person who acts without being told, the person who keeps promises to themselves, the person who doesn't fold just because it's tough. Because if you don't, you'll always be at the mercy of outside forces, circumstances, people and situations that you can't. And if your dream depends on something you can't control, you'll never feel stable or empowered. Stop looking for someone to understand your struggle before you make a move. You understand it. That's enough. You've lived through it. That's enough. What are you going to do with it now? You don't need someone to tell you your life matters. You need to start living like it does. You don't need someone to convince you that you're capable. You need to start showing yourself that you are. This is about responsibility, and responsibility is not a burden. It's power. The moment you accept that no one is responsible for your future except you, you stop being a victim of your environment. You stop blaming, you stop depending, and you start building. Everything starts to change when you stop hoping and start acting, when you stop expecting and start creating. The shift is in your mindset. The shift is in the way you talk to yourself every morning. Do you say, "I hope today is good," or do you say, "I will make today count"? One is passive, the other is powerful. And I'll tell you something else. No one can care about your dream more than you. If you're not willing to sacrifice for it, work for it, protect it, no one else will. The world responds to people who are serious. It respects those who keep showing up, not the loudest, but the most consistent. Not the most talented, but the most committed. Start where you are. Stop saying you need more support. Stop saying you don't have enough. Start taking full control over your habits, your schedule, your energy, your mindset. Because when you do, you'll feel something shift inside. You'll realize that waiting was the biggest risk, that hoping someone else would lift you up was the wrong plan, and that all along, the answer was you. You are responsible for building the life you want. That means your routines. That means your effort. That means your attitude when no one's watching. That means how you handle failure, how you handle doubt, how you show up when it's uncomfortable. Those things shape your future far more than any one person ever will. And the most powerful part of all this, once you stop expecting help, you realize you never needed it to begin with. You realize how much control you really have, how far you can go with consistent effort, how strong you can become when you stop depending and start deciding. So today, make that shift. Stop hoping, stop waiting, start working, start proving, start doing the things you've been putting off because you thought someone else might do it with you. They won't. This is your road, your test, your dream, and you don't get a second version of your life. You get this one, right now. So own it. Move forward with full responsibility. Build the plan. Stay on the path. Keep showing up. And prove to yourself that you don't need saving. You just needed to take the wheel. Chapter 3. Shut the door and work without being noticed. Most people want to be seen while they're building. They want someone to notice how hard they're trying. They want acknowledgement. They want attention. They want to feel like their effort is being recognized. But the truth is, the early stages of real growth are almost always invisible. The beginning of anything meaningful is quiet, uncomfortable, and unnoticed. If you can't shut the door and work in silence, you'll never last long enough to see what your effort can truly become. You have to be able to separate yourself from the noise. Not just the noise of the world, but the noise in your head that tells you to check your phone, check your messages, scroll through distractions. You don't need another update. You don't need another opinion. You need focus. And focus starts when you remove what doesn't matter and put your energy into what does. There's a kind of power that only comes when you decide to go all in without anyone watching. When you stop waiting for applause and start building when nobody's around. When you stop chasing validation and just show up and do the work. That's where real momentum starts. That's where character is built. That's where your future begins, not in public, but in private. There's no need to announce every move. You don't need to prove anything to people who aren't doing what you're doing. In fact, the more you talk about it, the less energy you have to actually build it. Keep it to yourself. Keep your energy contained. Shut the door, sit down, put your head down, and do what most people avoid. Unrewarded work. Work that has no audience. Work that no one praises. Work that most will never see. Work that most will never see. Because what you build in silence will eventually speak louder than anything you could ever say out loud. But you must be willing to stay committed without needing a response from the outside world. That's where most people fail. They start something strong, but as soon as they feel invisible, they stop. Not because the work wasn't important, but because they needed someone to notice them. You can't build a future on that mindset. You have to stay locked in even when it feels like no one cares. The truth is, building in silence protects your energy. It allows you to make mistakes without judgment. It allows you to improve without pressure. It allows you to grow without distraction. The process becomes yours. The lessons become personal. The progress becomes real. You're not working for an image, you're working for a result. You're not trying to look like you're doing something. You're actually doing it. You don't need to prove to anyone that you're working hard. Your results will speak in time. Right now, the goal is to show up and do the part that no one wants to do. The boring part, the slow part, the uncelebrated part. That's where the separation happens. That's where you begin to develop the traits others won't. Stop giving energy to people who aren't part of your discipline. You don't owe anyone updates. You don't need anyone's permission to focus. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled into someone else's conversation, someone else's drama, someone else's opinion, you're robbing yourself of time that could have been invested in your own vision. You can't grow something great while constantly explaining yourself. Growth doesn't need to be advertised. It needs to be lived. When you work in silence, you find out who you are, not who you pretend to be, not who you post to be. Who you are when it's just you and the work. That's what matters. That's the foundation. That's what lasts. Anyone can show up when the lights are on. Few can keep working when no one is watching. And it's those few who create a life that stands the test of time. Discipline is built when you do the thing no one sees. Strength is built when you show up with no audience. Consistency is built when you make progress without feedback. All of it happens behind closed doors. That's where the real work lives. And it's not just about isolation. It's about control. You control your environment. You control what enters your space. You decide what earns your attention. When you shut the door, you make a statement. This is my time. This is my effort. This is my life. You protect it like it matters, because it does. If you keep looking outward for motivation, you'll run dry. But if you build habits behind the scenes, you'll start creating a kind of momentum that doesn't fade when attention fades. That's the kind of focus that leads to real success. Not hype, not noise, but lasting growth. There's a certain peace that comes when you stop trying to be seen and just start being consistent. You stop caring about how it looks. You stop thinking about what others think. You stop needing applause. You realize that your dream is between you and you. No one else can see the vision like you can. No one else feels it like you do. So, why wait for people to understand what you were never supposed to explain? The truth is, people won't get it until it's done. And by then, you won't need them to. The results will speak. The life you live will prove what you've been building. But right now, while it's still quiet, you've got work to do. Serious work. No distractions, no noise, just time, effort, and daily action. The people you admire didn't get where they are by being loud about their process. They got there by being locked in, by missing parties, by skipping distractions, by staying home and getting things done. That's not a sacrifice, it's a standard. If you want a life most people don't have, you have to live in a way most people won't. Don't confuse movement with progress. Don't think being busy means being productive. Don't think talking about your goals is the same as chasing them. Every minute you spend explaining your intentions is a minute you could be building your discipline. You don't need applause, you need action. You don't need attention, you need structure. When you're serious about your dream, you realize you don't have time to be seen. You have time to build. You have time to execute. You have time to improve. And all of that starts behind closed doors, when no one's watching, when no one's asking, when no one's clapping. Every day you work in silence is one step closer to a future that speaks for itself. Stay in your lane, keep your head down, protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. The life you want is on the other side of consistency, not noise. The respect you want comes from results, not attention. The success you want is earned in silence, not performance. So shut the door, block out the noise, ignore the outside world for a while, give your full attention to your mission. This is not about isolation, this is about clarity. You don't need more opinions, you need more action. You don't need to be seen, you need to be consistent. And one day, when the results show up, when the life starts to shift, when your discipline becomes visible, then they'll wonder how you did it. But by then, it won't matter. Because you won't be doing it for them. You'll still be building, still growing, still working. And that's when you'll understand that the reward was never the recognition. It was becoming the person who could do the work without needing it. Chapter 4. Decide today that average will never be enough. There comes a point in your life where you have to make a decision that shifts everything. A quiet but serious decision. A decision that says, I'm done settling. I'm done blending in. I'm done accepting average when I know I'm meant for more. That decision won't come from pressure. It won't come from someone else telling you what to do. It'll come from you getting real with yourself and realizing that average is the enemy of the life you truly want. Average isn't painful at first. That's the trap. Average is comfortable. It doesn't ask much from you. It doesn't require risk. It lets you get by. And because of that, most people stay stuck in it. They follow routines that lead nowhere. They repeat days that feel safe but empty. They tell themselves they're doing okay when deep down, they know they could be so much more. That's where the internal battle begins. You start to feel that discomfort, not from failure, but from not trying hard enough, from knowing you're capable of more, but choosing less. That feeling doesn't go away on its own. You either numb it or face it. You either make peace with average or decide that it will never be enough. Every day you allow average to stay in your life, it grows stronger. And one day you look around and realize it's become your standard, your mindset, your circle, your daily choices, your entire life shaped by just enough. But you didn't come this far just to get by. You didn't fight through all your setbacks to live like everyone else. You're not here to settle, you're here to rise. And that starts with making a clear decision today. You don't change your life by accident, you change it by intention. And the most powerful intention you can set is to raise your standards. Raise them so high that average doesn't feel comfortable anymore. Raise them so high that you can't sit through another day without doing something about it. Raise them so high that anything below your potential starts to feel unbearable. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. Are you doing what you're truly capable of? Or are you coasting, going through the motions, living on autopilot, telling yourself you'll do better later? The truth is, later never comes unless you decide that now matters. Average delays everything. Greatness starts with today. People who change their lives are not more talented than you. They just got tired of living below their potential. They got tired of pretending everything was fine. They got tired of saying, maybe next year or maybe someday. And they made a decision, not a wish, not a goal, a real decision. That average was no longer welcome in their life. That their time, energy, habits and effort would reflect their highest self. It's easy to say you want more. It's harder to live like it. That's why average sticks around. It doesn't demand much, it keeps you comfortable, but comfort and growth don't live in the same place. You're either improving or declining. You're either pushing or settling. You're either growing stronger or getting softer. There's no neutral zone. That's why the decision has to be firm. No wavering, no waiting. Decide once and then build everything around that decision. The way you speak to yourself needs to change. Stop saying it's good enough if you know it isn't. Stop calling it progress if it's just convenience. Stop labeling effort as success when you know deep down you didn't give it your all. Be real with yourself. There's no power in pretending. The change starts with honesty. Brutal, necessary, life-changing honesty. Once you decide that average is no longer enough, everything shifts. The way you wake up changes. The way you handle your schedule changes. The way you eat, move, think and work all begin to change. You stop wasting time. You stop needing outside motivation. You start creating structure. You start setting goals that actually challenge you. You start showing up like someone who values their time, their talent and their potential. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting more. This isn't about proving anything to others. It's about becoming someone you're proud of, someone you respect, someone who lives with intention instead of excuses. The reward isn't just success. The reward is self-respect. The reward is looking in the mirror and knowing you didn't waste another day. Start by setting a standard so clear that you can measure it, not based on what others are doing, based on what you're capable of. If you're capable of giving more effort, give it. If you're capable of learning more, study. If you know you've been avoiding the work, face it. Average doesn't survive when you start holding yourself to real standards. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Build habits that don't need motivation. Discipline is built when you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. You show up. You keep going. You push through the discomfort. That's the separation. That's where your new identity is created. And once you start living that way, average will feel like poison. You'll start seeing things differently. You'll notice how many people waste time. You'll notice how many conversations lead nowhere. You'll start protecting your time because now you value it. You'll stop saying yes to things that drain you. You'll stop trying to please everyone. Because once you raise your standards, you also raise your environment. The people, habits and thoughts that once fit into your life no longer make sense. That's the beauty of making a decision. You change not only what you do, but who you are. And from that place, you begin to grow faster. Because now you're aligned. You're not pretending. You're not guessing. You're clear. And clarity drives change faster than anything else. So ask yourself, is today going to be another day of average? Or is today the day you finally say, this isn't enough? Not out of frustration, but out of commitment. Not because others expect it, but because you do. You owe yourself the life you're capable of living, not the easy one, the real one. The clock is ticking. You don't get these days back. Stop giving your time to habits that keep you stuck. Stop giving your energy to excuses that slow you down. Start living like you know your worth. Start acting like your future depends on it, because it does. Make today the day you stop compromising, the day you stop shrinking to fit in, the day you stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. Make it the day you say with full certainty, average is not for me. You weren't built to live a forgettable life. You weren't meant to just go through the motions. There's more in you, but it only shows up when you stop settling. It only becomes real when you demand it from yourself. That's what this chapter of your life requires. A higher standard, a stronger mindset, a deeper level of effort. You've waited long enough. You've talked about it long enough. Now it's time to decide. Draw the line. Step forward. Leave average behind and become the person who lives fully, builds relentlessly, and never looks back.
Chapter 5. Show up strong even when you feel weak. Some days you won't feel like doing anything. You'll wake up and feel tired, not just in your body, but in your mind. You'll feel the weight of your responsibilities. You'll feel the pressure of everything you haven't finished. You'll feel moments of doubt, moments of frustration, moments where the easiest thing to do is to pull back, delay, rest, or avoid the work. That's real. But those are also the most important days to show up, because how you act when you feel weak says more about you than what you do when everything feels good. You don't build strength on the days when you're excited and full of energy. You build it on the days when you have none, and you still get up, you still move forward, you still honor your routine, you still give what you can, even if it's not your best, even if it's not perfect. Showing up strong doesn't mean you never feel weak. It means you don't let the feeling stop you. Some people wait for the perfect energy, the perfect state of mind, the perfect mood, but those things are unreliable. If your effort depends on how you feel, you'll stay inconsistent, and inconsistency builds frustration. You feel stuck, not because you can't move forward, but because you only move when you feel like it. That's not how winners think. That's not how you build a strong life. You build it by learning how to lead yourself, especially on the hard days. It's not weakness to feel low. Everyone goes through that. But strength is deciding that how you feel will not decide what you do. Strength is built when you keep your word to yourself, when you stick to the plan, when you stay loyal to your goals, even when your motivation disappears. Because motivation is temporary, it's unreliable, it comes and goes, but commitment is something you choose every single day. You're not meant to be perfect, you're meant to be disciplined. And discipline shows up, whether it feels good or not, whether it's sunny or not, whether people see you or not. And the more you show up when it's difficult, the more you train your mind to stop relying on feelings. You start becoming the kind of person who does what needs to be done regardless of emotion. That's freedom. That's power. People don't see the behind-the-scenes effort. They don't see the quiet struggle. They don't see the tired mornings, the quiet nights, the moments where you wanted to give up but didn't. But that's okay. You're not doing it for attention. You're doing it to grow. You're doing it to become dependable to yourself. That's what matters. That's what lasts. Your dream doesn't care how you feel today. It needs your action. Your goals don't ask if you're in the mood. They ask if you're serious. And if you are, you'll show up even when it's uncomfortable. That kind of mindset builds something most people never experience. Real pride. Not surface-level confidence, not fake excitement, but real pride, the kind that comes from knowing you've earned your progress, that even when everything in you wanted to pause, you still moved forward. You have to stop expecting yourself to always feel great. You're human. Life will test you. Your body will be tired. Your mind will be distracted. But the one thing you can control is how you respond. Will you take the day off, or will you take the next step anyway? Will you sit in the feeling, or will you do what the mission requires? Some days your progress will be small, but small still counts. 1 page written, 1 workout done, 1 task completed. It adds up. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing something. When you show up on the tough days, you're not just checking a box, you're proving to yourself that you won't break under pressure, that you won't disappear when it gets hard, that you won't negotiate with your goals every time discomfort shows up, and that mindset leaks into every part of your life. You show up better in relationships, you become more reliable, you stop making excuses, you start becoming someone who follows through. That's where confidence comes from, not from fake positivity, from action, from follow-through, from the days you didn't want to be there but you were. There's something powerful about showing up when it's hard. It silences the doubt, it quiets the negative voices in your head. Not through talking, through doing. The work becomes your response, the action becomes your answer, and over time your brain learns to stop expecting ease. It starts adapting to effort. That's how you get stronger. Some people never grow because they never push through resistance. They stop at tired, they stop at doubt, they stop at stress. And each time they stop, they teach themselves that it's okay to break promises to themselves. Don't let that become your pattern. Make a new one. Show up tired, show up unsure, show up uncomfortable, but show up. This doesn't mean you never rest. It means you learn to tell the difference between needing recovery and choosing laziness. You know the difference. You can feel it. One gives you energy, one takes it away. Rest with intention, but don't hide behind it. You don't need another excuse. You need to see how strong you can be when nothing goes your way, and you still move forward. You won't always be at your best, but you can always give your best effort for the day you're in. That's what separates those who grow from those who wait. Waiting for the right feeling leads nowhere. Working through the feeling builds a future. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. Strength isn't a feeling, it's a choice. Build the habit of showing up no matter what. That's how leaders think. That's how winners operate. That's how high standards are created. You don't need to win every day, but you do need to show up every day, even when you feel low, even when no one sees it, even when no one says thank you, because it's not about being noticed, it's about being dependable, it's about being committed to something bigger than your feelings. And when you start living like that, something changes in you. You stop needing things to go perfectly. You stop being controlled by your emotions. You start finding power in action, and that power builds a life you can be proud of. One decision, one step, one hard day at a time. So if you woke up today feeling weak, that's okay. You're still capable of showing up. You're still responsible for what you do next. And what you do next shapes the kind of person you become. Show up, not because it's easy, not because you feel strong. Show up because your future depends on it. Show up because your dream deserves it. Show up because even on your worst day, you're still in control of your actions. And those actions will always be stronger than your excuses. Chapter 6. Do the hard things nobody claps for yet. Most of the progress that changes your life happens quietly. No one sees it. No one gives you credit for it. And in the beginning, no one even believes it matters. That's the hard part. Doing the work when there's no reward, no recognition, no applause. But that's where real change happens. In the hours no one tracks. In the decisions no one notices. In the effort you put in when nobody else is around to watch. Everyone wants to succeed. Everyone wants the result. But very few are willing to do the work that looks boring to the world. Most people want attention right away. They want proof that it's working. They want feedback. They want to be seen. And when they don't get it, they stop. Not because the path was wrong, but because they didn't know how to keep going without praise. You have to build a mindset that isn't dependent on applause. If people clap for you, great. If they don't, you keep going anyway. Because the work matters more than the attention. And truthfully, the most important things you'll ever do, the habits, the changes, the mindset shifts, will all happen in silence. Nobody will cheer you on when you wake up early to study, to build, to train. Nobody's keeping score when you show up tired and still choose discipline. But that's the work that builds the life you want. That's the work that separates people who talk from people who transform. If you only work when there's a reward, you won't last. If you only push yourself when others are watching, you're not growing, you're performing. Growth is personal, it's internal, it's built by doing what you know you need to do, even when it feels invisible, even when it looks small, even when the results don't come right away. That's the mindset that builds a future you're proud of. There are no shortcuts, there's no fast track to mastery. You don't get to skip the work just because no one notices it. In fact, that's what makes it powerful. Because when no one's clapping, when no one sees it, and you still do it, that's proof that you're serious, that you're committed, that you're building something real, that you're not here for attention, you're here to change your life. It's easy to stay motivated when people are celebrating you. It's easy to keep going when the results are obvious. But can you stay focused when it's quiet? Can you stay consistent when it's uncomfortable? Can you put in the reps when no one is checking in? That's the test, and how you answer it shapes your future. Some people stop because the beginning feels slow. They feel like their work isn't adding up. But growth is rarely dramatic. It's steady. It's built on habits, not highlights. And most of those habits look like nothing to the outside world, but they are everything. They are the structure, the discipline, the system that makes your vision real. You don't need approval to be great. You don't need an audience to make progress. You need standards. You need systems. You need a reason to keep going that comes from inside, not outside. Because if you depend on other people to keep you consistent, you'll lose your drive the moment they stop paying attention, and they will. People get busy, people forget, but your life doesn't stop. Your goals don't disappear. Your vision still needs your effort. Most of the life-changing decisions you'll make won't get a reaction. No one will notice when you choose to skip the distractions. No one will cheer when you spend your weekend building instead of wasting time. No one will know when you choose to stay focused instead of being pulled into drama. But every one of those moments adds up. They become your identity. They become your strength. They become your path forward. If you want a life that's different, you have to act different. And that means doing things that most people avoid, things that don't feel exciting, things that require patience, things that look ordinary on the surface, but create extraordinary results over time. That's the work you have to fall in love with, the hard things, the hidden things, the ones nobody claps for yet. You're not falling behind, you're building in private, and when it's time for the results to show, they'll speak louder than any words ever could. But for now, your job is to stay committed, to stop chasing the reaction and start focusing on the process, to show up when you don't feel like it, to stay grounded when it feels like nothing is happening, because something is happening inside of you, and that change is the most important of all. If you're serious about your future, you have to be okay with being underestimated, with being ignored, with working in silence. That's the cost. But the reward is that you become someone who doesn't fold under pressure, someone who doesn't quit when it gets quiet, someone who keeps building until the work pays off. And it will, if you stay consistent. Most people stop too soon. They start strong, but when the excitement fades, so does their effort. They wanted results, but they weren't ready for the responsibility. They wanted recognition, but they weren't ready for routine. That's not who you are. You're not here to dabble. You're here to commit. Every day you show up and do the hard thing, you're proving that your goals are real, that you're not just talking, you're working, that you're not just dreaming, you're building. That kind of effort is rare, and because it's rare, it's valuable, but no one will hand you anything for it. You have to earn it, quietly, consistently, relentlessly, and eventually the day will come when people start to notice, when your work starts to speak, when your results start to shine, and they'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder what changed, but by then you'll know the truth. It wasn't a big moment. It wasn't luck. It wasn't timing. It was all the days you showed up without applause, all the nights you worked while others rested, all the choices you made when no one was looking. That's what builds confidence. Not compliments, not claps, but consistency. Not performance, but preparation. And the preparation happens in silence, away from the noise, away from the praise, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the quiet moments where you could walk away but you don't. So if today feels unnoticed, keep going. If your effort feels invisible, keep going. If you're doing the hard things and wondering when they'll pay off, keep going. Because everything you're building is preparing you for the life you said you wanted. And if you want that life, you can't skip this part. You have to earn it. You have to build it. You have to do the hard things nobody claps for, until one day they do. But even then the claps won't matter, because by that time you'll already know. You'll know what you're capable of. You'll know who you became through the process, and that will always be the real reward.
Chapter 7. Say no to comfort when growth feels uncomfortable. Growth never happens in comfort. That's the truth most people avoid. It's easy to say you want to improve your life. It's easy to read books, set goals and make plans. But none of it matters unless you're willing to feel the discomfort that comes with real change. And the moment things start to stretch you, the moment the work feels unfamiliar, the moment your routine gets hard, that's when most people reach for comfort again. That's where progress ends for them, not because they weren't capable, but because they said yes to ease and no to growth. You can't grow while trying to feel good all the time. Growth feels like stress. It feels like effort. It feels like pressure. It feels like you're pushing against something you're not used to. And if you always run back to what's easy, what's safe, what feels good, you'll stay exactly where you are. Not because you lack talent, but because you never allowed yourself to be uncomfortable long enough to evolve. Comfort is tricky. It feels right in the moment. It feels like rest, peace, or self-care. But sometimes it's just avoidance in disguise. Sometimes it's the reason you're not making progress. You tell yourself you'll take a break, reset, give yourself space, but deep down, you know it's a way of running from the work. You know it's you saying no to the discomfort that leads to strength. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you send a signal to your mind that the work is too much, that your goal isn't worth the push, and your brain starts learning that quitting early is acceptable, that backing off is normal, and it becomes your pattern. You give up at the first sign of friction, and the worst part is, you start to believe that growth isn't for you. But that's not true. You were just conditioned to back down every time it hurt. There's no way around this. You have to start saying no to comfort when it stands in the way of what you said you wanted. You have to stop giving yourself an easy way out. You have to be willing to feel tired, to feel pressure, to feel unready, and still keep moving forward. That's how you earn real growth, not with ease but with effort. Every improvement in your life will ask you to give something up. Sometimes it's your time, sometimes it's your bad habits, sometimes it's your ego, but the trade is always worth it. You give up short-term ease, and in return you get long-term progress. You give up the comfort of being the same, and in return you get the reward of becoming better. But you have to be honest about what's holding you back, and most of the time it's not the world, it's your relationship with comfort. When your life feels stuck, don't just look at what you're doing, look at what you're avoiding. Look at the work you keep skipping. Look at the uncomfortable conversation you keep putting off. Look at the routines you keep breaking. Those are the things blocking your growth, not your circumstances, not your past, not other people, just your decision to stay where it feels safe. But nothing worth having is built in safety. It's built in struggle. It's built in the moments where you want to quit but don't, where you want to slow down but don't, where you want to go back to comfort but choose to push through instead. Those moments change you. They make you stronger, sharper, and more focused. And each time you face discomfort and keep going, you create a new standard for yourself. A standard that says, I don't stop when it's hard, I adjust and keep moving. You've got to change your response to discomfort. Most people treat it like a warning sign, like something's wrong, like it means stop. But discomfort isn't danger, it's development. It means you're doing something new, something difficult, something that requires a different version of you. That's the sign you're on the right track. Discomfort is your proof of progress. If it feels easy, you're not growing, you're repeating, you're staying in the zone you've already mastered. But if it challenges your thoughts, if it stretches your energy, if it makes you question whether you're good enough, that's the space where transformation happens, not outside it, inside it. And you don't have to like the process, you just have to respect it. You just have to trust that doing the hard thing now leads to a better life later. You might not enjoy waking up early. You might not enjoy saying no to your distractions. You might not enjoy sticking to routines. But
but you're not doing it for enjoyment. You're doing it for the outcome, for the version of you who can look back and say, I didn't fold when it got uncomfortable. I rose. Growth doesn't come with comfort. It comes with pressure, with mistakes, with self-doubt. It comes with learning to control your emotions. It comes with showing up on days when you'd rather escape. It comes with feeling stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. And it rewards you only after you prove that you're not here for temporary relief. You're here for a permanent change. Stop glorifying ease. Start respecting effort. Start respecting the grind that nobody else sees. Start showing up when it's inconvenient. Start embracing the part of the process that feels awkward, lonely, and frustrating. That's where your future is built. Not when everything makes sense, but when everything feels uncertain and you show up anyway. There's no pride in doing what's easy. There's pride in doing what's necessary. And what's necessary right now is you learning how to be okay with discomfort, to walk into it on purpose, to stay there long enough to grow. You don't escape that part. You master it. You get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and suddenly you start unlocking parts of yourself you didn't know were there. You discover your grit. You find your discipline. You sharpen your focus. And you become someone who doesn't need ideal conditions to make progress. You move anyway. You work anyway. You evolve anyway. Don't wait for comfort to leave before you move. Say no to it. Say no to the easy road. Say no to doing just enough. Say no to the distractions that make you feel better for a moment and steal your future in return. Every yes to comfort is a no to your growth. And you've said yes long enough. It's time to flip the switch. Choose the hard thing. Not because it's hard, but because it makes you better. Choose the habits that challenge you. Choose the actions that stretch you. Choose the mindset that says, I'll face this now, so I don't have to regret it later. That's how you shift. That's how you grow. That's how you build a life that feels earned, not given. You're not going to break from discomfort. You'll break from staying the same. So next time you feel resistance, remember, this is the cost. Not of failure, but of transformation. Pay it with effort. Pay it with discipline. Pay it with consistency. And keep paying it until the discomfort becomes your new strength. Because once it does, you'll never go back to comfort again. Not because you can't, but because you'll finally know what growth feels like.
Chapter 8. Ignore opinions and protect what you're building inside. Most people talk too much about what they're building and listen too much to people who've never built anything. That's one of the biggest reasons dreams fall apart. You start with fire in your heart, a vision that means something to you, and little by little, you let outside voices influence what you're building inside. You get pulled in by opinions, distracted by noise, and before you realize it, you're building what looks right to others instead of what feels right to you. That's not growth, that's losing yourself in the process. Nobody fully understands what you're working on because it wasn't given to them, it was given to you. The ideas, the drive, the vision you carry inside, it's personal, and the more you explain it to people who don't get it, the more frustrated you'll feel. Not everyone will see the value in what you're doing, not everyone will believe in it, and if you let their doubt get louder than your focus, you'll sabotage your own progress. You need to learn how to move in silence, not because you're hiding something, but because what you're building inside is still forming. It's not ready to be judged. It's not ready to be explained. When a seed is planted, no one digs it up to check if it's growing. It needs space. It needs time. And you need to protect your work in the same way. Keep it close. Let it grow strong enough inside you before you invite the world to see it. You don't owe explanations for your growth. You don't have to convince anyone why you're working on yourself. Your life is not a group project. It's yours. And the sooner you stop looking for approval, the faster you'll grow. People's opinions are often built from their own limits. Their doubts are about them, not about you. If you carry their doubt into your world, it becomes your limit too. That's how people shrink their potential, by carrying weight that was never theirs. Protecting what you're building inside means taking control of your thoughts. You can't allow every opinion to take up space in your mind. You need clarity, you need focus, and most of all you need confidence in your direction. Confidence doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you trust yourself to figure it out step by step. You trust that your work matters, even if no one claps for it right now, even if people question it, even if it takes longer than expected. This journey is not about impressing people, it's about becoming someone you respect. When you stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment, everything begins to shift.
You no longer move to be seen. You move because you believe. You don't post to be noticed. You show up to improve. You don't explain yourself. You prove yourself through your discipline, your habits, your results. You're not obligated to take in every piece of feedback. Not every comment deserves your attention. You've got to filter. You've got to decide what stays and what gets ignored. Just because someone has an opinion doesn't mean it carries value. Most people speak from the outside looking in. They don't know the pressure you carry. They don't know the effort behind your actions. They see the surface. You know the depth. And that's why you have to protect it. Focus is hard to maintain when you're too available to everyone's thoughts. You've got to build boundaries, not just with people, but with noise. Be careful who you listen to. Be intentional about what you expose yourself to. If you're always plugged into other people's lives, you'll lose track of your own. And if you're always seeking outside guidance, you'll forget how to trust your own judgment. Growth demands space. It demands privacy, not secrecy, privacy. A space where your ideas are safe, where your work is protected, where your energy isn't drained by explaining everything. When you protect your inner world, you build something solid. You're not moved by trends. You're not shaped by random feedback. You stay rooted in your principles, and from there, you grow into something powerful. People will always have something to say, but the ones doing the most talking usually aren't doing the work. Stay focused. Let your work speak later. Let your consistency answer the questions. Let your life tell the story. You don't need to interrupt your progress to explain what you're building. You don't need to slow down to prove a point. You just need to keep going. You also need to stop doubting yourself every time someone questions your process. Growth doesn't always look pretty. It doesn't always make sense from the outside. But if you feel it pulling you forward, if you know it's right for you, keep moving. Don't let temporary opinions cause permanent hesitation. Most people don't recognize progress when it's early. That doesn't make it wrong. That makes it yours. You owe it to yourself to build something meaningful. And that means saying no to people who want to shape you into something you're not. That means standing firm when people don't get it. That means continuing, even when no one understands what you're building. If it matters to you, that's enough. If it lights a fire in you, that's enough. Don't waste time waiting for others to catch up to your vision. Growth also means learning to sit with discomfort. Not just physical effort, but mental effort. The kind that comes when you want reassurance and don't get it. The kind that shows up when you make decisions that go against the crowd. You'll want to go back. You'll want to explain yourself. But don't. Stay grounded. Let your results be louder than your need to be understood. In this season, you're not building to impress. You're building to align. You're working on your thoughts, your routines, your vision. That's sacred. Don't open it up to people who don't value it. You're not obligated to include everyone in your process. You can love people and still protect your peace. You can respect people and still say no to their opinions. You can listen to advice without losing your direction. You know what you're building, even if it's not finished, even if it's still forming. You know what kind of person you're trying to become, so keep building, quietly, consistently, intentionally. Your time will come, but right now, your focus is too valuable to waste. Your mind is too important to flood with noise, and your dream is too real to give away to outside opinions. Protect it, build it, strengthen it, and when it's ready, it will speak for itself. You won't need to explain. You won't need to argue. The results will be clear, but until then, protect what you're building inside, because that's the only thing that truly belongs to you. And if you lose it chasing approval, you lose the chance to become who you were meant to be. Chapter 9. Remind yourself why quitting is not your option. Quitting is easy. It's always available. It sits there quietly, waiting for the moment things get hard, the moment your motivation drops, the moment you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. And when you're vulnerable, quitting shows up and pretends to be relief. It tells you it's okay to walk away. It tells you the pressure will go away if you stop trying. And in that moment, it feels tempting, but you have to remind yourself of the truth. Quitting might end the struggle, but it also ends your progress. It ends your momentum. It ends your shot at becoming who you said you wanted to be. That's a high price to pay. And once you start making quitting an option, it becomes a pattern. There will be days where everything feels uphill, nothing clicks, everything seems slow, your work feels invisible, your efforts feel small, and the thought creeps in, what if I just stop? What if I take a break from all this pressure? But the question you should be asking is different. What if you keep going? What if today's the last hard day before a breakthrough? What if everything you've been building is right on the edge of becoming real, and quitting is the only thing standing in the way? You have to look back sometimes, not to regret, but to remember why you started. You didn't come this far to back down when it got uncomfortable. You didn't sacrifice your time, your peace, your energy, just to stop in the middle. You started because something in you wanted more. That desire wasn't random. It came from a place deep inside you that refuses to accept a life of just surviving. It came from your future self reaching out, saying, don't stop, keep going. This is the way. There's a reason you began this path. There's a vision that pulled you in, a dream that once lit you up. And when things feel heavy, you've got to go back to that reason, reconnect with it, see it clearly again, because it's easy to forget when the days get long and progress feels invisible. But your reasons matter. They're the fuel behind your discipline, the meaning behind your habits. When your motivation fades, your reason is what keeps you grounded. You can't give up on something just because the process is hard. That's the process doing its job, shaping you, humbling you, strengthening you. If it didn't feel like pressure, it wouldn't lead to change. And if you quit every time it got heavy, you'd never know what's on the other side of struggle. You'd never discover the version of yourself that doesn't flinch under pressure, the version of you that adapts, that finds a way, that proves quitting doesn't belong in your story. This is where most people stop, right here in the middle. Not because they're weak, but because they didn't take the time to remind themselves why they can't stop. They got caught in the discomfort and forgot the mission. Don't let that be you. You need to speak to yourself differently when things get hard. You need to remember what's at stake. You need to remind yourself that what you're building matters, even when no one sees it. Especially then, you didn't get this far for nothing. You didn't endure your past struggles just to throw away your future progress. You've overcome before. You've pushed through before. This isn't your breaking point. It's your test. It's life asking you, do you really mean it? And your answer isn't in your words. It's in your consistency. It's in your refusal to stop showing up. Quitting will always seem easier, but the price is always heavier. Regret lasts longer than discomfort. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to keep going. One more day, one more task, one more hour of effort, and before you know it, those small actions stack into something strong. That's the game. Not speed, not perfection, just refusing to stop. You've got to build the habit of persistence, the habit of pushing through resistance, the habit of not letting your emotions make decisions for you. Feel tired? Keep going. Feel discouraged? Keep going. Feel lost? Keep going. That's how winners think. They don't avoid pressure. They face it. They don't run from hard days. They use them to get stronger. You're allowed to feel everything. Doubt, stress, fear. But don't build your identity around those feelings. Feel them and move forward anyway. That's real strength. That's what separates people who finish from people who fold. Your feelings are valid, but they're not your final answer. Your actions are. Quitting doesn't just kill your momentum. It damages your belief in yourself. It tells your mind that when things get hard, you walk away. And if you do that enough times, you lose trust in your own promises. You start something and doubt it from the beginning. That's not how you build confidence. Confidence comes from staying in it when it's hard, from being someone who finishes, someone who pushes through when it's inconvenient, painful, or quiet. You have to build a stronger story in your mind, not one where you're fragile, not one where you're easily shaken, a story where you're resilient, where you face the pressure and grow from it, where you fall and get back up without hesitation. That story will carry you when everything else feels uncertain. You can't keep giving yourself an escape route. Burn the bridge back to quitting. Make it not an option. Make continuing the only direction. Because when you stop allowing exit plans, you find more strength than you thought you had. You dig deeper. You push harder. You grow faster. Because now there's only one path forward. This journey won't reward the person who moves the fastest. It rewards the one who stays committed, the one who refuses to settle, the one who understands that most of the world stops at resistance, but they keep going, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You need to make it personal. What are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? What does quitting cost you, not just today but years from now? What would it feel like to know you gave up on something that mattered? Sit with that. Let it wake you up. Let it remind you that quitting is not an option, not for the person you're trying to become. You've sacrificed too much. You've come too far. You've got people depending on your growth. You've got goals that deserve to be finished. And more than anything, you've got a life to live that's bigger than where you are right now. Don't shrink it. Don't silence it. Don't give it up because things got uncomfortable. So the next time the thought of quitting shows up, remind yourself of everything you've done to get here. Remind yourself that you didn't survive all that pain just to stop here. Remind yourself that you're stronger than your doubt, tougher than your emotions, more focused than your fears. Remind yourself that this is just a hard day, not a dead end. And then keep going, because one day you'll look back and thank yourself for not quitting. You'll realize that the struggle was the path, not the problem, and you'll know without question that the life you have came from the decision you made when it got hard, not to quit, but to keep moving forward. Chapter 10. Keep choosing your dream no matter who doubts you. When you have a dream, you have to protect it from the beginning, not just from distractions but from doubt, especially when that doubt comes from people you know, people close to you, people whose voices are loud because you've trusted them. The moment you decide to go after something that's bigger than your current life, you will face doubt. That's guaranteed. Some of it will come from strangers, but most of it will come from people who think they're helping. They'll say it's too risky. They'll say you should be more realistic. They'll question your timing, your strategy, your motivation. And if you're not grounded, those voices will shake you. You've got to remember that your dream was given to you, not to them. They don't have to see it. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to believe in it, but you do. If you keep waiting for everyone to be on board, you'll wait your whole life. If you keep explaining yourself, you'll exhaust yourself. The goal is not to convince them. The goal is to stay committed. Their doubt is not your responsibility. Your discipline is. Every time you choose your dream, you strengthen it. Every time you put action behind it, you make it more real. But every time you second-guess it to satisfy someone else's expectations, you weaken it. You make it easier to walk away. You lower the standard for your future. Don't do that. Don't put your dream on hold just to avoid being judged. Don't shrink it down to make it more acceptable. You're not here to fit in. You're here to build something that means something to you. You will be misunderstood. You will be talked about. You will be questioned. But none of that changes what's possible. You have to build the ability to stay centered, to keep choosing your dream without needing everyone's approval. That's how real builders think. They're not driven by praise. They're driven by clarity. And clarity is what keeps you going when the noise gets loud. There will be moments where doubt gets heavy, not just from others, but from inside you. And in those moments you have to remind yourself why you started. You have to remember the version of you that said, "I want more." You have to reconnect with that fire, because if you don't protect that vision, it fades. Not because it wasn't real, but because you let other voices become louder than your own. You owe it to yourself to keep choosing your dream, even when it's lonely, even when progress is slow, even when people don't get it, because this dream isn't just about success, it's about growth, it's about becoming someone you're proud of, it's about proving to yourself that your life can reflect what you care about, not what others settle for. You have to learn to move through life with tunnel vision. That doesn't mean ignoring feedback. That means not letting feedback run your decisions. People will tell you how to live, even if they've never built anything. They'll tell you what's possible, even though they gave up on their own dreams. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful where you place your trust. Just because someone doubts you doesn't mean they're right. And just because they're loud doesn't mean they have wisdom. You've got to become someone who takes full ownership of their direction. That means you take the hits and keep walking. That means you hear the doubt and stay focused. That means you stop asking people for validation they're not capable of giving. If they've never walked the path you're on, their opinion can't define it. If they don't see the vision, that doesn't mean the vision is wrong. It just means it wasn't theirs to see. You also have to be honest with yourself. Are you choosing your dream consistently? Or are you only choosing it when it feels easy? Do you lean into it on the good days and back off when it's inconvenient? Or are you showing up for it no matter what? That's what matters. Your dream can only become real when you treat it like a priority, not an experiment. not a hobby, not something you do when life allows it, something you do because life demands it. You will outgrow people. That's part of the cost. You will lose relationships. You will face criticism, but you will gain something far greater, self-respect. You will gain the kind of strength that can't be taken, the kind of clarity that doesn't need constant reassurance, and the kind of life that reflects who you really are, not who others tried to make you into. People won't always believe in your dream, but your job is not to convince them. Your job is to build, to show up, to become someone whose results make the noise unnecessary. That's what changes everything. When your life starts reflecting your work, the same people who doubted you will ask how you did it. But by then, it won't matter, because you didn't do it for them. You did it for the version of you that refused to settle. Choosing your dream isn't a one-time thing. It's something you do daily. It's how you talk to yourself in the morning. It's what you choose to focus on during the day. It's the decision to block out distractions. It's the choice to stay disciplined, even when no one's holding you accountable. It's the commitment to keep learning, keep building, keep believing, regardless of who claps and who walks away. Most people live based on other people's doubts. They lower their standards because someone else couldn't see the vision. They slow down because someone laughed at their effort, and they regret it later. Don't be that person. Be the one who didn't stop. Be the one who knew that vision wasn't random. Be the one who stayed loyal to something most people didn't understand. You don't need everyone to see what you're building. You just need to see it clearly enough that their doubt doesn't move you. Their disbelief doesn't shake you. Their silence doesn't stop you. You move anyway. You choose anyway. And in doing that, you train yourself to become the kind of person who lives with purpose, not pressure. You have to protect your vision with action, not with words, not with arguments, but with effort, with patience, with discipline. That's what makes the difference. Doubt can't stop someone who keeps showing up, and people can't argue with a life that reflects growth. Keep choosing your dream, not for applause, not for approval, but because it matters, because you said it mattered, and that's enough. You'll thank yourself later for staying the course, for tuning out the noise, for trusting your own path,